All right, so I was looking for an article to, stand here and report to y'all with, and I found this. Were modern slaves how meat plant workers became the new front lining in the COVID-19 war, right? You're not a slave, you're being paid, and you have every opportunity to leave if you want to. I understand if that's the only job in your area, and I get your mentality, but the reality is you're not a fucking slave. Okay, legit. You are just in a shitty job. Like, it just is what it is. This is what happens when you destroy your manufacturing base. Workers interviewed by The Guardian describe pattern of alleged negligence at plants run by some of America's largest food manufacturers. Okay, so let's see here. News of the first COVID-19 death at Tyson Foods poultry plant in Camilla, Southwest Georgia spread slowly. It was like they were keeping a secret, said Tara Williams, a 47-year-old worker at the plant, as she described her accounts of management's response to the death of her colleague, Ellis Willis. It took them about 2 weeks just to put a picture up to acknowledge that she had died. Well, first off, it's not your employer's job to stand here and, commemorate the death of one of their employees. It's nice that they do so and, should show respect, because that's, what most companies would do, but like they didn't want to make a big deal out of it because they don't want the rest of y'all acting like idiots about the COVID. Williams had worked alongside Willis in the deboning section of the plant until she died on April 1st, age 56. And again, I say, you should be laying off every worker over the age of 50 years old. Real shit. The people who are most at risk should be at home. It's that simple. They should be on layoff status so they can collect the unemployment. They get the extra $600 a fucking week, and they'll be fucking good. 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, 100,000 slaughtered chickens a shift. Who gives a fuck? Jesus Christ. You make it sound like, like there's some type of, like they're being abused and whipped by their fucking slave masters. And that's just not the truth, man. Like, look, they do this, they do a whole lot of work because they get bonuses for how many fucking extra chickens get done a shift. If all the shift hits a certain amount, you get a certain amount of money extra. That's positive. Like, that's how fucking the world works. I understand none of y'all, have ever, you fucking ridiculous ass people have never really stood here and worked a day in your life. I know, all of y'all are, living in, fucking whatever Brooklyn nonsense or London or, San Francisco or whatever nonsense town. You've never actually worked a day in your life, but this is how real work is actually done. Willis was the first Tyson employee to succumb to COVID-19 in the Camilla plant, but 2 others would follow in short succession. A marker of the precarity faced by thousands of meat processing workers pushed to toil, closely packed on the front. No, it's only if you're over the age of 50. If you end up sick, oh man, I'm fucking dying, my chest hurts, I need to stay the fuck home, get better. You have every right to do so. Everybody be like, yeah, man, fucking these motherfuckers had the flu. It is what it is. You stay home. But if you're over the age of 50, this might kill you. So you know what? You send them home already. They should have already been gone. And I know, this is the problem. We can't discriminate because of age. You should be more than able to. Real shit. All right. At the Camilla plant, but 2 others would follow in short succession. A marker of the precarity faced by thousands of meat processing workers pushed to toil, closely packed on the front lines through the pandemic in plants that have quickly become coronavirus hotspots. At least 20 meat packing workers have died from the virus nationwide, and 5,000 become infected. According to union officials, as close to 2 dozen facilities closed, some temporarily over the past few weeks. And look. You're going to be packed in like sardines into this fucking place. All right. And the working conditions are going to be garbage. Why? Because you've had illegal immigrants standing here taking these jobs for years. All right. For years and years. And I've already done videos on this. All right. And the fact that you have to continue to compete against them. Plus, on top of that, America demands cheap wages. We've spent ourselves into oblivion. Look, these are actual numbers. All right, legit. These are actual numbers. Okay, this here's, spending fiscal year 2020, pensions, $1,164 billion. That's Social Security, healthcare, that's Medicare, $1,301 billion. Education, $1,233. And see, here's the thing, you want to read the totals, for state and local, we're at $1.5 trillion, $1.8 trillion for Medicare. All right, $1.2 trillion on education, only $1 trillion on defense, We're not wasting all of our money on fucking defense like a lot of these fucking leftists will scream at you about. It's these long-term fucking, non-dictated policies that come out of Congress and come out, they have no oversight to them. Like every time Congress passes a budget, they don't touch Medicare or Social Security because it's automatically taken out. There is no way to fucking reduce the benefits or reduce the cost without going through like passing new legislation to do so. And it requires a majority of Congress to do so. That's how entrenched these programs are. It's the same way with education. The president invoked the Defense Production Act to mandate meat processing plants stay open during the pandemic. The White House has been reluctant to use the Wartime Act, which allows the president to order companies to fulfill work it deems necessary to national security. The DPA was used to push General Motors to make ventilators, but few other companies have received such orders. The move, which essentially labels meat production an essential service, also offers further measures to protect the industry from legal liability should more workers contract the virus. The orders came within hours of Tyson, a $22 billion company, the world's second largest meat processor, taking out paid adverts in U.S. newspapers, including the New York Times, that warned that recent closures of a handful of plants due to the virus could lead to limited supply of our products. Well, yeah, it's that simple. All right, they know that they're dying. They know that, if left up to the states, if left up to the local municipalities, these leftist soccer mom cocksuckers will shut them the fuck down, all right, and close the plants down and starve the rest of us out. That's the truth. All right, and it has little or nothing to do with, Rockefellers and all this bullshit and fucking Bilderberger garbage, right? It has to do with soccer moms and ridiculous people being the fuck in charge. Legit. It has to do with government workers who's never done a real fucking day's wage in their entire fucking lives, making decisions for the rest of the fucking country who actually foots the bills. All right, so for Tara Williams, who's worked at the Camilla plant an overnight shift as packing scanner for 5 years, earning $13.55 an hour. And by the way, that's good money in Georgia. Georgia's like it used to be in the 80s in the rest of this country. All right, legit. It's a garbage place to live. It's extremely poor. All right. There's a reason why these plants go down south. There's a reason why places like Toyota and Mitsubishi and Hyundai, when they open plants, or Kia, they go down south. They don't go to Detroit. They don't go to New York. They don't go to California. They don't even come here to PA, right? They don't go to Maryland. They don't go to Jersey, because the cost of doing business would be so prohibitively high that they would never be able to compete. Unlike GM and Ford, and Chrysler to a certain extent, who are stuck in Detroit and forced to pay union wages to union workers, right, who are accustomed to earning real money. These plants go down here and they open up, and this is what they pay people, $13.55 an hour. Trump's executive order and her company's adverts were another blow in the fight for workers' rights. I was devastated and I was hurt, because now, to be truthful, and excuse my language, Tyson really aren't going to give a fuck about us at all. She said, for us employees that work in production, we're treated like modern day slaves. No, you're not. Jesus Christ. You're treated like workers, all right? You just want a day off like a kid from school. And I get it. I do. Believe me, I'm a spoiled brat American too. I fucking feel you. But the truth is that, look, if you work at a place and they expect you to show up, expect to either fucking show up or be fired and not paid. It's up to you. All right. You're not going to get time off like government workers and teachers do. And I fucking feel you. Sitting right next to a government worker right now and collecting a check that the rest of us would never have the opportunity to get in the fucking private sector. Legitimately. I've heard guys come to me and tell me, hey man, I don't know what to do. My boss is standing here fucking telling me to go on unemployment and still work. This is the truth. All right. The vast majority of these people are standing here looking around like everybody else is getting the fuck off. Why can't I get off? And I feel you. We all want a break from having to fucking do this shit. I fucking feel you. I do. All right. Everybody wants to be at home. The truth is that we're letting too many fucking people into this goddamn country. If we would stand here and because we have a birth rate of 1.8, if we would just let our population decline, all right, things would normalize. All right, everybody be able to afford shit again. Our currency be worth something. You would end up being able to negotiate for better wages. You wouldn't have to compete with the third world. All these things would be fucking good for us. But we keep pushing these stupid fucking mentalities that are making us all feel like fucking slaves and destroying the fucking minds and soul of our fucking country. The spokesman added that the company relaxed its attendant policy in March to reinforce the importance of staying home when sick and waived its waiting period to apply for short-term disability and increased its coverage by 90% of normal pay until the end of June. Tyson poultry worker, and this is what I'm saying, you're not a fucking slave. You want to stay the fuck home? Like, yo, stay the fuck home. Tell them you're fucking sick. Tyson poultry workers are now being offered $500 bonus to continue worker. They're willing to pay you. These will be paid twice, once in May and once in July, and a contingent on work attendance. Now, I think you can get the union to bump that up some, right? Legit, I think it should be a stack a piece, right? And I think the government should cover it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not even a leftist mentality. Like, I think Tyson would probably just have the government, they would write it off and the government would pay it anyway because fucking they're going to write it off their taxes. Although the spate of death to Camilla led Tyson to deep clean the plant over a weekend, the facility did not close entirely, according to Edgar Fields, vice president of the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union. The company is now measuring workers' temperatures as they report for work and begins applying surgical face masks. But according to Fields and workers interviewed by Tyson, The Guardian, Tyson continues to suppress information on employees who have tested positive for COVID-19. I don't give a fuck. It's not their job to report fucking COVID-19 cases. Yo, it's the job of the county there to report COVID-19 cases. That's not Tyson's job. For the last 2 months, people have been dying from the coronavirus. We've been asking the White House to put something in effect to protect workers. Now, all of a sudden, when employees getting sicker and sicker and fed up of going to work, that's really what it is. They're fed up of going to work. Trump found it necessary to support big business. No, he found it necessary for the rest of us to eat, you silly bitch. yo, these fucking dumb fucking... See, this is why. Yo, legit. You know, there's always a fucking broad whining every time. Yo, look, how do you lose your free speech? There you go. How do you use your right to certain seizure? There you go. Every fucking time. Jesus goddamn Christ. The infectious disease epidemiologist Michael Ostrom warned deep cleans and surgical masks in these plants could not be sufficient to stop the spread of COVID-19. It's in the air. Until we really get an airborne control program in place in these settings, I think we're going to continue to see transmission, Ostrom has said on his podcast. The situation is similar in Arkansas, where workers at a non-unionized Tyson poultry plant in Springdale have staged protests demanding full sick pay and compensated quarantine. Yeah, you should. Pay them. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's cost of doing business right now. Look, seriously, rise the price of fucking chicken. Jesus fucking Christ. How difficult is this? Like, fuck, man. Like, yo, just jack your goddamn prices up. The hell is wrong with you? Like, yo, just rise the price. Like, it's like $1 a fucking pound, dude. Just raise it up to like fucking $20. Like, fuck it. Gives a shit. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers will still have access to it. Legit. This is the problem with these big companies. Like, oh, we're still trying to keep the prices normal. Why? Because they're trying to cover up for the fact that your fucking dollar doesn't go nowhere. Again, they're trying to cover up for this fucking bullshit. Legit. They're trying to cover up for that. That's the truth of the matter. $27 trillion in motherfucking bullshit. Before all this started, 27 million in fucking trillion in debt. 27 trillion in debt before all this started. That's what they're trying to cover up for. The fact that your dollar is fucking worthless. That's what all this is really the fuck about. All right? And they want to keep bringing more people in because you know what? They just want to keep fucking trying to kick the can down the fucking road. Enough is enough. Let's take our fucking medicine. We're all giving bathroom breaks at the same time. There are hundreds of us waiting to use them. There's only 7 bathrooms. That's fucking ridiculous. Tyson don't care about the worker. They don't care if we get sick. It's not their fucking job to care about you. They're not your fucking parents. Jesus fucking Christ. For more than a century, the meatpacking industry has been a symbol of how corporations are able to exploit workers in the name of efficiency. No, it hasn't. It was a good union job, right? Yo, see, I've already had this conversation with y'all. I've already talked about this bullshit. Legit. You know what I'm saying? I've already had this conversation with all of y'all motherfuckers. Legit. I don't fucking care. Anyway, yo, look, man. This video is getting long. So, anyway, yo, you know the deal, man. Like, share, and subscribe. You know the situation. It's Tom Peace. Holla at your boy. Peace.